Fugu fish. When it comes to food that can kill you, there's definitely no getting around fugu fish, which sells for between $100 and $500 for a few small pieces. There are a lot of myths surrounding it, including its taste. But to try this delicacy you have to be a desperate madman. The fact is that its body contains a very toxic poison tetrodotoxin. In minimal doses it can cause a slight tingling sensation all over the body, but if you cook fugu incorrectly, then in a couple of hours you are in danger of muscle paralysis and respiratory arrest. According to official Japanese sources, from 2004 to 2007, 15 people died in restaurants and 115 visitors to high-end establishments were hospitalized. Risk is a good thing, but being killed by fish meat is not the brightest prospect, don't you agree? African swarming frog. And this wonderful dish came to our channel straight from sunny Namibia. As you know, the local population is not very picky in food, and therefore does not set records for life expectancy. Nevertheless, their traditional cuisine includes a huge swarming frog. It is cooked whole with skin and giblets, where the main secret lies. This is where the deadly poison accumulates, which reaches its greatest toxicity during the breeding season. Local chefs are eager to offer this delicacy to inexperienced tourists, especially for whom a laconic sign on many establishments reads, "The restaurant is not responsible for the health of visitors." Pangium edible. Pangium, and no, that's not the name of another Korean chief. This unique plant, which grows in the jungles of Southeast Asia, produces fruit several times a year. They are used to dress various dishes, but there is one small remark: they are stuffed to the top with cyanide. A couple of bites of such a nut is enough to kill an adult human. Using all precautions, you can get a unique kelawak dish straight from Pangium, but there are only a couple of professionals in the whole region who can make it in such a way as not to send a visitor to an elite restaurant to the grave. Octopus. My mom used to say, "Don't eat octopus, son." In South Korea there is an incredibly popular dish sanekji, which is octopus tentacles with sesame oil. In words it is quite safe, but in practice, the fact is that the limbs of this sea creature are able to make various movements after being cut off for several hours. Known cases when during dinner one such foot was sucked to the throat, blocking a person's oxygen. It is problematic to pull it out, so when eating a dish, it is recommended to chew it properly. The risk of being killed by a tentacle is not high, but we do not think it is worth the risk to be a guest in South Korea. Blighgia. Jamaica is a beautiful country that is famous for its unrivaled Caribbean cuisine. On the islands grows blighgia, whose fruits have amazing taste qualities. However, they are very poisonous. The young berries and large black seeds contain a substance called hypoglycine, which in the human body is transformed into a toxin that causes the so-called Jamaican vomiting disease. Its name speaks for itself. Every year about 30 people are poisoned, some so badly that they die of dehydration. Kazu Marsu. Italian cheeses are famous all over the world, like Kazu Marsu. The Sicilian version is a favorite treat of mice. Many don't even dare to try it. Until recently it was banned in many European countries, but thanks to the broadcast of world-famous chef Gordon Ramsay, Kazu has become incredibly popular. Its zest is the presence of fly larvae in the body of the cheese, which are capable of causing a slight indigestion by their mere appearance. About the taste and do not want to talk, as well as the harm of such a treat. Flies are not the cleanest creatures, and their offspring contains a number of harmful toxins that can cause death. The Italians themselves are proud of their dish, not for everyone, but if Palermo does offer you a piece, it is better to refuse. Fesk. In Egypt, they simply adore fish. It is not for nothing that the local population has invented its own national dish. Fesk is, in fact, an ordinary dried fish. But the process of its preparation takes 365 days. That is, the fish carcass without temperature treatment is first fermented, then dried, and only then salted for a long time. The recipe itself is quite complex, but here's who can settle in it during all this time. It's impossible to predict. In 2019, 5 people died from Fesk, which makes it one of the deadliest delicacies in the world. Cashews. They seem to be the most common nuts, Who among us has not tasted them? But they arrive in stores ready and processed, so there is no risk to human health. But in South America, where this plant traditionally grows, people are well aware of its dangers. Let's start with the fact that there is a separate nut, separate apple, cashew. Yes, they grow together, but they look like they are glued to each other. So, apples do not interest us, they are harmless. But nuts contain a special oil that causes poorly healing burns. It is impossible to imagine what happens to the stomach of a person who ate an unprocessed nut. After all, if you run a wild cashew over a piece of paper, it will burn through it. Bloody clams. Bloody clams are a very popular dish in Asian countries, particularly China. They got their name because of their bright red color. This color is due to the presence of a large amount of hemoglobin inside. Mollusks are boiled or steamed. The danger of their consumption is that these clams contain various viruses and bacteria that can harm a person. At various times they have contained hepatitis A, E, typhoid and dysentery. But this is by no means a complete list of diseases that can be caused by eating contaminated blood clams. Monkey brains. Monkey brains are eaten mainly in Asian countries. This delicacy is very popular among wealthy tourists. They can be eaten raw, baked and boiled. However, you should be careful with this dish. After all, it can cause a serious disease, the so-called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, affecting the cerebral cortex. It is one of the few pathologies that cannot be cured at all. This disease can lead to the death of the infected person. According to the WHO, there is no chance of recovery, and as of 2021, the mortality rate from this disease reaches a shocking 100%. Carambola. If you have problems with kidney function, just 100 grams of juice of this fruit can become a real poison. The toxins in the fruit can negatively affect the brain and the entire nervous system. For those whose kidneys work normally and filter harmful substances, neurotoxins, this fruit is not dangerous, it can be safely eaten. Carambola itself is incredibly useful, as it contains a unique multivitamin complex. A week's dose of vitamin C in 100 grams is no joke. Cassava. In southern Africa, danger can lurk in anything, even a seemingly harmless flatbread. If it's made from cassava root flour, for example. This plant contains hydrogen cyanide, a poison that can kill people. So it is very important that the flour is prepared properly, the root is thoroughly dried and washed. Otherwise, it can cause severe poisoning or even death if you eat a lot of cakes and buns. Well, as I promised, the video was interesting. So, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.